How are we doing there, boys and girls? Manthieus here. Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to take a little bit of a look at the newly implemented NPC work order system. Players have wanted something like this for quite some time. We've had many problems with public orders and finding personal orders. The work order system has been quite a contentious system for a lot of players, let's put it that way. And Blizzard have sort of heard that feedback and hopefully they're working on it. We got a sneak peek that NPC work orders were coming in the alpha. They gave us a little bit of a heads up that they are doing something, and we've now got it in our hands to do some initial testing. I want to say at this time it's very rudimentary. It's definitely not finished. It's definitely not polished, but I wanted to do two things today. I wanted to show you what we do have and the kind of direction I think that they're going with it. And I want to talk for a couple of minutes about some of the things that we don't see yet that I think would be really valuable additions. So let's see, what do we actually have then? Well, we're playing with tailoring on this character, and as you can see, we've got a little short list of items we could potentially fill orders for. A few key things to note here is that the NPCs are able to request specific qualities. This might ultimately mean for you, when it comes to crafting the item, you might find yourself in a position where you just, even if you have the recipe, you might not still be able to fulfill that order if you also can't fulfill up to the minimum quality that's being requested. I, for example, in this scenario, with only some basic materials on hand, even using concentration, wouldn't actually be able to make the quality 4 that Warcraft is requesting. So there's some opportunities here for some slightly better flexibility. But I'm sure by the time you've skilled up your profession, this will be less and less and less of a problem. But much like real orders, you might not be in a position to make the thing that somebody wants. I think NPC orders, it's probably actually worth noting at this point, NPC orders, the list you see is personal to you. This isn't like a public thing. You as an individual character, you as an individual crafter will have your own list of potential work orders you can fill. So there's no worry about having to snipe these or find these. These are entirely personal to you. Secondly, reagents are not fixed with these as it stands right now. You may spot some of them are providing all the reagents. Some of them are providing none of the reagents. Some of them are providing some of the reagents. I'm not a fan of this personally. I'm going to share some of my opinions. Please feel free to share yours in the comment section down below as well. I'm not personally a big fan of this all, some, or none for the reagents. My take of NPC work orders is they're meant to be something to help you as a player. They're meant to alleviate some of the problems you might have of finding, should we say, natural orders, real people who want things crafted. You might not find those public orders. You might have difficulty getting those personal orders. The NPC orders are meant to sort of help you, and this kind of weird ambiguity with the reagents I think is a complication that I don't think is really necessary. Do I think NPC orders should provide all of the reagents? Maybe not necessarily all the time, but I think it should be one or the other. They should either give you all of the reagents and give you a modest commission, or they should provide none of the reagents but a significantly bumped up commission. If you're going to have to cover the cost of the materials, you know, the commission has got to at least cover most of those, if preferably all of them, to be honest here. But as I mentioned, this is early days for the testing. It's also worth noting the duration on these. Some of the times on these, like 3 days, 4 days, 7 days, whatever the case may be here, makes me think that they might rotate in a similar way to how work orders do. World quests do. World quests reset twice a week, and I suspect your NPC craft order list might do something very similar. I would like it if it was a little bit more fixed, like you get some NPC orders come in at this time and you can sort of plan for it. Otherwise, you're in this weird scenario. You might always be kind of like checking it to see if a new order is turned up. I hope there is, you know, maybe you get 1 or 2 every daily reset, or you get them occasionally with like the world quest reset. I think a steady supply of them is good, but you don't want to have to like be constantly refreshing just to see if you get new ones. That would feel really weird. There is actually something I can't showcase you live in game here, but I want to showcase you. I did take a screenshot of this when it happened, and it's probably one of the more interesting things for people, to be honest. And it's that they do offer, occasionally, they do offer these bonus rewards. We spotted one that came with a little chest, and it showcased that, well, if you complete this order, admittedly it was an engineer order, but if you complete this order, you will get a bonus reward, and that bonus reward in this scenario was a formula for my enchanting. For reference, this specific character had engineering and enchanting, so that's maybe why it's an enchanting recipe. Or it could just be completely bugged. We don't know at this point. But the point still stands. There is a little bonus reward system to these NPC orders. And I suspect when we get more updates to this system, we'll see more of this coming through. I suspect this reward system is where they will build on to make them a little bit more attractive for you to do. So this for the most part, is what we have with it at the moment. A couple of things I would like to see. I would like to see this list be a little bit more personalized to us as crafters, right? I've simulated on this toon sort of a tailor that's leveling up. They've done most of the leveling via trainer recipes. They've got to skill 75. But they're in that sort of mindset that, well, okay, they might need to go start looking for work orders to get from skill 75 to 100. This was a very common scenario to find yourself in Dragonflight, at least. I'm in the weird scenario right now. This is slightly off topic, but I'm in the weird scenario where I've only got one recipe that can even give me skill points. I think a really smart way to use NPC work orders would be to make sure that at least one of my NPC work orders at any time is for something that's going to give me some skill points. At the moment, my only option to get skill points is making this. There are some recipes that I could go out and acquire, but my point still stands. If I go to my crafting orders and actually filter out the ones that I don't know the recipes for, all of a sudden the list is a lot shorter, and I'm put in the weird scenario straight away that neither of these orders are actually going to give me a skill point for my profession. And so the only reason I would try and do these, for the most part, is for the commission. If they offer none of the materials or only some of them, I might once again ignore both of these, which kind of feels a bit weird. I'm hoping that as they develop this system, they can do something that like highlights profession, sort of focuses in on the recipes that are actually going to help you. I tend to think one of my initial thoughts for NPC orders that it should be something that helps you individually overcome some of the randomness that can occasionally occur when you're playing an MMO, right? If people don't want the things you can craft, you can just get stun locked. You can get completely in a weird position where you can't progress because nobody wants the shit you make, right? I think the NPC orders could have some sort of smartness behind the scenes that says, right, okay, well, there'll always be one order that can give you some skill points. The alternative to that is they could build in something where any NPC work order you complete just gives you one flat skill by default, right? I don't think we're going to be doing many NPC work orders each week, at least not the way that it's presented to us right now. So I also don't see it being really that much of a problem if every order you fill gives you one skill point. It might help people get past those sort of bottlenecks. It might help people get those last few points that are often very difficult to achieve. We know people love to fill the bar. It's not always a rational decision to fill the bar, but people want to fill the bar. And I think the NPC orders should help you do that. I also feel that this has to be a system. They've already sort of suggested that this is the case, but they're going to have to make sure that this is a system that implements some catch-up for knowledge points as well. They've suggested that that is the route that they're going to take. We can't see it in beta right now. We can't test it in beta right now, but as I mentioned, this is probably a very early build. I'm hoping that this system we see here, which offers rewards, I'm hoping there's a loot table for these rewards, right? I'm hoping the loot table could have knowledge point tokens on it. It could have recipes that you don't already own. Maybe it gives you a consumable item that gives you a few skill. I'm hoping that's the direction they take with this. As it leads me more back to that initial mindset of that the NPC orders are meant to help you progress, when the regular crafting order system is kind of a bit more difficult for you to progress with. Finally, my last thoughts on this really is the commissions. They need to maybe look at addressing the commissions on these. Nobody gets excited for 50, 60 gold. Nobody whatsoever. Even a world quest can give you 500 to 1,000 gold sometimes. One single world quest. The amount of effort you have to put in most cases to level up your professions. I do think the commissions need to be a little bit more juicy to incentivize people doing them, especially if they're not going to provide you all of the materials. But that, boys and girls, is mostly where we stand right now with the NPC work orders. I think it's a good initial implementation. I think the design of it will help a lot of players who struggle naturally to find those orders, whether you be on a lower population server, or whether you be on the wrong faction to the majority on your server, or whether you only play in off hours of the day when there isn't much demand for stuff being crafted. Hopefully these NPC orders can alleviate some of those stresses for people, and give people more of a reason to actually try and progress with their professions, which I think would be good. Some changes can definitely be made, and I hope we see those in the next coming weeks. But leave your thoughts down below, boys and girls. Use the comment section. Do you agree with some of my suggestions? What are your thoughts on this? Let me know, and let anybody else that might read the comment section know. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and if you're new around here, consider subscribing. But I'll catch you all next time, boys and girls. Have a good one. Peace.